This story is about the sandbox that was in the middle of the road. There was a sandbox in the middle of the road, and as I was looking around, I saw cars that were swerving away from the sandbox to not touch it as they were going onto the other side of the road. I did not know why it was that there was a sandbox in the middle of the road. It did not even fit in that side of the road. But there were people swerving around that sandbox, going to their destinations. It is so difficult to understand how I was going to make sure that I could grab all of the sand from the sandbox to deliver it over to the other side. And as part of this journey, I had to have a look at each and every grain of sand and to decide whether I was going to put it inside of the bag that I was taking all the way to the other side, or whether to wait until there was a big forklift that could take it all the way to the other side. And with every move of this sandbox, I was looking at, with every move of the bag, I was looking at the sandbox and starting to consider each grain of sand all by itself on its own individual basis. It was very hard to see what I was going to do with it because every grain of sand is special and different in its type. So let's go through each one of them so that I can explain what they all looked like. There was one grain that was very, very big. It was twice the size of a normal sand, and it had a lot of features to it. It was very rough and it was very transparent, and I could not understand how it could get that big. I mean, you have a look at its edges, and it had 3 to 4 edges that were extremely rough, that made it very hard to hold it because I was worried that it was going to pierce my finger. So as I would grab it, I would start to feel it onto the side and onto the top of it, and I did not know what to do. So I grabbed it and I put it in the bag. As I placed it in the bag, it started to move left and right, and it was very weird to look at. So therefore I decided to keep it in my pocket. I did not put it in the bag with the rest of the sand grains because it was a difficult one to look at. So after that, I started mapping out the rest of the sand grains that were in that sandbox because they all needed to be moved before I could move that sandbox completely in its entirety. Well, you see, the sandbox was made of many different sides, and it was one that was made temporarily using a blow-up sandbox. It was a big blow-up pool that was placed in the middle of the road with a lot of sand inside of it. And so we had to decide what to do with it. Do we move the sand? Do we move the rocks? Do we move the sand and the rocks? Are there any rocks left that needed to be moved? And how do you do that? It is very important to remember that sandboxes are extremely, extremely hard to move. So therefore, moving the sand all alone was going to be very important. As I looked at that sand, it had many different sizes and shapes to it, and I needed to decide whether I needed to move it in its entirety or to move the sands one by one, and it was a difficult decision. So then I decided to go looking for tools that will help me to make sure that I do that. There were many different tools that I could choose. They were all lying on their sides inside of a store, and I decided to have a look at them one by one. There were shovels, but the shovels were not very straight. They were crooked, and so therefore I had to look at each of them separately and individually. Shovels are not always the best means because they are very smooth from the top and very, very rough from the bottom. It is not very easy to look at shovels. So therefore, I started to look them up one by one to see what it is that they could each do for me. It was a difficult decision, so I had to keep looking. There were many, many rocks and many, many shovels, so I had to decide which rock was going to go for which shovel. The rocks were black and the shovels were white. Why would they have white shovels? And that I did not understand. As I was looking up above the sandbox when I went back, there were white clouds standing there. These white clouds each had their own color. Some of them were really dark and others were whiter. I tried to form shapes in the sky with my eyes, trying to figure out what those shapes meant, but it was very difficult to assimilate all of the clouds into different shapes. Some of them looked like elephants, others looked like giraffes, and some looked like spiders or crocodiles. So it was really hard to decipher what every different cloud looked like. So I started looking at them and gazing away slowly, slowly, as the clouds started moving faster and faster. The clouds did not make my attention to them much brighter and deeper because they were really, really fluffy and very, very weird to look at. So therefore, my neck started to hurt, and then I decided to go away and to stand somewhere else. And I could not understand why those clouds were so busy, so different. And between each and every cloud, there were also pieces of nothing that were there, pieces of clouds that were just beneath the real ones, as if it was a cloud with a form and then a full stop right after it. Why would there be a full stop right after a shape of a cloud? That was very weird. So I kept on looking at the different shapes as they went by one, wondering what it is that they are trying to say, wondering what it is that they are trying to do, wondering what it is that they wanted to be saying to me. And it is very interesting to keep looking at the clouds all throughout the afternoon because of the fact that the sun will set and there will be no more clouds. The sun doesn't really set whenever the clouds go away. It's the sun that sets after the clouds go away that I'm concerned with. And it's very, very interesting because you have a look and it each has its own separate color. It's very good to look at clouds, but not the ones that have rays next to them. You need to make sure that you're away from the rays of the sun so that your eyes do not burn because of the rays of the sun. So you have a look one by one, little by little, and as you see and you look, you will see these clouds getting together and forming different shapes. There are so many different things that these clouds could be saying. Could they be saying that I am making you fall asleep? Are they saying that you are bored? Are they saying that the story is pointless? Are they saying that you need to fall asleep? Are they saying that your eyes are getting really, really tired? Are they saying that the more you listen to me, the more pointless the story is going to be? It is very interesting to have a look and to go through mindless meanders of what it is that the story is trying to say. Is it an aimless thing that is trying to unfold with these clouds? Or is there meaning to the clouds and their looks? We keep on looking at these clouds, and as we look deeper and deeper, we see more and more of nothing with every single cloud. These clouds remind me of a story that I was told when I was young about a little puppy that was walking around aimlessly wandering in the forest where he saw two different birds, the red ones and the blue ones. The red ones were walking on the sidewalk while the blue ones were flying away. He could not understand what the difference was between them. All that he could see was there was a big difference between the one cloud and the other, and the one bird and the other. So he tried to look at the birds along with the clouds to see if there could be any similarities, but he couldn't find any. And so the little bird kept on flying left and right, wandering aimlessly and exhausting himself slowly. And as he went back home, he started seeing all of those nests that were that were sitting there, and it was very hard for him because every single nest had a different size and shape, and so he could not decipher which one of these was his mother's nest. So he kept on going and going, slowly from nest to nest, trying to find a place for him to lay. And as he kept on traveling, he could not find anywhere that seemed or resembled his house. So he kept on looking and searching and looking and searching, and there wasn't anywhere that was his house. And so that bird kept on flying from country to country, trying to migrate to find his house. And eventually, after a lot of traveling, he was there. He found a place. So he wanted to go down, and as he was traveling down to find out if that was his nest, he saw that there was no one there, and at that point he decided to keep on traveling. And as he traveled further and further, there were many different nests that started to appear to him. Each one had their own separate color, their own separate variation, their own separate border, but they weren't the house that he was used to. So he kept on flying and flying, with different rays of sunshine popping onto him slowly, as he tried to warm himself up and tried to keep himself warm. And then eventually he kept on landing on different parts of the tree, and every single tree had its own different branch that used to look very different to what he is used to. But the story here is very interesting because he kept on flying and he kept on trying to find a different place to land onto so that he could see his brothers and sisters. And there wasn't any of those trees, none of them had his brothers and sisters. So he kept on flying and looking around and flying, and as he was flying he felt the wind coming onto his tail. So he flew higher and higher until he reached a place that he called the highest point that he could fly. And when he got there, he just kept on flying and flying. And it was very hard for this little bird because he looked very different to all the rest of the little birds. And so there was really nothing that he could do other than fly further and further away from where his nest was. And as he flew, he realized that he may have passed the nest. So he came back and he went back and he turned around and he flew back. And as he was flying back, he decided to fly a little bit slower, because the slower you fly, the more likely you are to see your house, to see your nest. The nest was very interesting that he saw. It had blue and green flecks in it. And it was very interesting because he's never seen a green and blue nest nested in a tree. So he went closer to examine it. And as he was going closer, he had to circle around in circles to try to get to his nest, because not all birds can fly in the same way as the rest of them. And as he was going down, he started to see all of those wooden branches stuck together to make the nest. And the nest was very interesting to look at. And so he started to plan where he was going to place the different things that he had inside of the nest. Would we look at the left side of the nest or the right side of the nest? And he planned every single detail of where he was going to place all of his different things on the nest. And as he was planning and traveling back and forth to the nest and grabbing all of his things from his destination where he was before, it got really hard and very exhausting. So he started to go to sleep on the way every now and then. And he took naps so that he could reach his final destination and be all good. And as he was flying back and forth, he saw the horizon and he saw where all of his friends would have been. So he looked over there and looked further, and he could see a lot of beautiful things happening in the distance. His distant looking was not very good because his eyesight was bad. So he had to go closer to have a look and see where all of his friends were. And as he stared over there, he saw his friends, and he was very surprised to see that his friends were very far away. So he had to travel over and over, day after day, to find them properly. And once he did find them properly, it was really hard to leave because he had so much fun with them. And his friends told him that the best thing to do is to go back to that sandbox because it is in the sandbox that he will find the joy. And as he was traveling back and forth, he decided to go back to the sandbox to see where his treasures lied. So he went back to the sandbox and saw everything that was in the sandbox, but it took him quite a while to get there. It took him days and nights of traveling back and forth because he could not decide where the sandbox was. There was a sandbox in the country where he was at before, but he didn't know whether he was going the right way, so he had to travel different directions in order to get back to where he was before. And as he traveled, he tried really hard to get there, but it was so hard. It was very frustrating. He kept on trying. He kept on going back and forth and back and forth. And then close to the end, he got to where the sandbox was, and he found the place where he nested his things. And when he got to the sandbox, he took the first look at the sandbox, and over there he was able to find all of what he needed to be able to travel back to his blue and green nest. It was a difficult journey, but he got there eventually. So he went back and forth to find that nest, and when he found it, he sat there and he looked at his stuff, and he decided that he was going to take them one by one along with his friend. And slowly, the bird took his stuff slowly, one by one, towards the second nest where he was. And it was a difficult journey. It took a long time, and it was a difficult and frustrating one. So he told his friend that she could go with him so that they could both carry things over to the new nest. The friend was complaining because she didn't want to go. She was happy where everyone else was. So the little bird had to fly there all by himself, slowly, taking his stuff alone. The helpful friend did go with him a couple of times, but when she went, she needed to stop to drink in the nearest pond and then to keep going. So it took twice as long for him to take his stuff back when he had his friend with him. And slowly, they got to where the destination was. They drank a little bit of water, put the stuff into the nest, and then kept on going again. Slowly, took it time to go back and forth. You may wonder how many days that took. That probably took around 3 to 4 days for every trip back and forth. And as the birds were flying, they would keep in their mind all of those different signs that showed them where their house was and where the new one was. So their sense of orientation was really good. The bird's friend was very important as part of the journey because she had good eyesight and good orientation skills. So she was able to help him find the new house that he had to go to, and then he went there with her. And slowly, the new birds were able to guide themselves to the new place that is where it is that they wanted to put the stuff. But the other bird, she did not want to stay there because she had different plans for herself. So she only took the stuff with the little bird slowly, just so that he could finally move into his new nest. And the new nest was very big, very spacious, and it was a very hard journey to the new nest. And slowly, as time went by, the bird started to get used to the journey and to go there all by himself. He started to fly downwards to avoid having to use the energy of his wings to flap, and he started going there every single day for many days until he was able to move all of his stuff to his new nest. And this is how he was able to move into his new house. When the breast takes away the night of the day, it breathes in the sleep and then sleeps in the deep. It is hard, it is fine. It is fine grain on the rind. It gives you all you need to be able to fall asleep. You start to go deep and you start to sleep deep. It doesn't understand the differences you've had to face when you worked hard on the deep sleep of the night and you slowly fell asleep. Slowly took your time to go deep in the night. You fell deep in the sleep of the ocean running deep. It doesn't help when you bend deep to the night. Your heart ran deep in the sleep and you understood what it was about. You were deep and genius, your mind hard in the foul. The bowel of the night, it took you hard inside, and you fell down in the night, infinite moons and a lot of darkness. Darkness that felt deep in the night of the sleep. And you noticed what a brave person you were as you felt the ocean night give you hard sleep, deep, deep hard sleep. And you were so overwhelmed, so happy that you felt happiness and joy deep in the night, deep in the day, deep in the ocean. The clock was ticking by, hour by hour. You did not reason the time. You tried to make sense of the words, but they make no sense, and your mind starts to ease as you get tired of listening. So you decide to go to sleep, disarming your mind, finding the will, finding the way. Slowly you stay, and slowly you go. It is hard through the night. When you find yourself asleep, you take away the fear, and you find your deep sleep. Deeper it goes, deeper it comes. It is hard to understand why it becomes such a beautiful cycle, is what I like to say. You take away the fear of the bright light. It takes away the night. What is bright about the night? I do not understand. You're bright, shining bright. It takes away the fear and the deer in the pier. It's far from me to sleep. It's close to the ocean deep. You take away the fear, and you do not spend the night feeling so bright. I love the love, and I hate the fear. There is something deep inside of the ocean bed. It takes it away hard without the part that I love. I don't understand where the riverbed falls in the deep ocean and flower, white and green and blue, is where they all power. I do not get the night. I get all the day and the bright. It is shiny, it is kind. It is what it was like. I do understand where my head will stand. It is with you in the dark, in the deep dark night of the bright. Bright is a flame of the lame and the pain. I do not know why. I find myself crowned for pie. Pie is deep, it falls asleep. It takes away with it all the pain and the brain. I do not know why. It is all very nice when you fall asleep in the ocean deep. I take my time and I do my vine. It takes me deep in sleep when the ocean is bare and when the story is clear. It is my story, the story of the bear. It holds still, it's not fast, it doesn't want to last. It lasts forever, my voice feeling deep. I cannot fall asleep, but I can hear your voice, the voice of clarity, the voice of justice, taking me deeper in sleep. You will hear me talk, just like I am now, just always like that, and never again. Senseless words, meaningless vibes, something that will remind you of your prime and your vibe. You will fall asleep deep in the night, for safety will crown you while you look at this deep, deep night's sleep, with the voice of the bride and the voice of the mind, and the weather and the oxygen and the deep ocean sleep. It is here for you steep to make you fall asleep. You will not hear me vibe without Optimus Prime. Optimus and Optus and Rector and Vector, they are all in the deep night sleep. With me they will feel deep. It is not easy to sleep without the voice of a soothing person, someone who is there to talk and listen, while the whispers of the night say goodbye for the prime. You listen deep in the sleep, and you hear the voice whisper, the voice that will help you to fall asleep. You give up and you relax. From head to toe you fall asleep. You feel safe at night, in the darkness and the shining bright of the moon on the ocean shore, where you see the palm trees waving in the summer night. With love and with fear, you will fall asleep, romanticizing the summers of your dream, the night and the prime. They say to you to go to sleep. Good night from the owl, and good night from the deep, with a deep sleep. Good night to you. Take deep your sleep with the palm trees of the night and the crickets that sing the voice that will help you fall asleep. You hear that noise. You hear the majesty of nature. It reminds you of a time that you did not want to survive. The voice of the deep and the deep sleep. It will take you deep into a sleep where you will hear the voice, know the person, and clear your voice for the deep every time when you go to sleep. It is a voice from the heavens telling you good night. Good night, my dear darling. Don't let the ocean survive. Surviving the weather, surviving the ocean, the wisdom in your heart, which I will impart. You're very smart and you're dear, and you cannot take away the ocean and the urgency of the calm that we behave. I love you deep down, because you don't have a crown. You have a voice and a wisdom. They crown your head and your words, and with every deep sleep, you cannot fall asleep. You will take your head and use it to understand the future blue is. You'll fall asleep deep in the night, and you cannot say goodbye. Your voice is so quiet, but you can hear the speaking of a loud roar in the night, of the lion and the dike, eating and sleeping deep in the ocean. It has been 20 minutes. It has been 50 minutes. Your heart desires to never know, for timeless is the night where you fall asleep with the voice of the deer and the voice of the creep. He will deepen your sleep, slowly, slowly. You will hear the voice sing, and you will sing the voice's sound. It will whisper in the night, in the resmed of the night. It is so deep, it is so deep. I feel like I want to fall asleep. I feel like I want to close my eyes and drift away in the humor of the night. Deep in the sleep, whoever cannot fall asleep, I can take you deep into your sleep without making any sense whatsoever, because this is how the background noise will take you deep in the sleep with these voices and these voices, and the doors shut and open with aimless words that meander through the night. And as you hear them, you get tired, as you don't know when it will end. And now you have to bend to the night and the sleep and the moon and the stars shining so bright in the night without any fight. You survive with the blight of a bright summer night. You see deep in the sleep, and you suddenly fall asleep, getting tired of listening, getting bored of the noise. Your mind gives up power, and it lets go to the night. You fall asleep deep in the night. How beautiful is the night, the deep contemplation of the night. It helps you relax, because you do not want to feel lax. It is deep in the night that you shine bright with the night of the ocean time. You are smart, you have will, you have all that you need to fall asleep deep in the night with this voice hanging by, taking you away in the river of your sleep. On Friday afternoon, after a long day at the park, I went to the store to eat 5 chocolates. The 5 chocolates were peeled. There was no peel left. I did not know what to do. Then I went back home. It was hard. There were so many people. It was not easy to go through. There was wind and the breeze. The breeze was cold, and the night was young. There were so many things whispering into the horizon. I did not know what to look at. I did not know what to think. I did not see the wind. I did not see the breeze. I was feeling contemplative. I was hearing the breeze. There was a lot of wind. The temperature was dull. To wait and hear every season grow and every autumn glow. I did not understand or hear the wind of the breeze. The flowers were moving, but the tree was standing near. And it was so dark, and it was so bright. Was it dark or was it bright? I could not understand. My head was tilting back and forth through the autumn and the spring, going back and forth with no direction or steer. I do not know why. I heard the background noise, and it just couldn't help but make me fall asleep. My sleep was deep, and my night was deep. I read through the darkness. I went into the light. I woke up the next day, and I took back my life. I took it all, took it strong, and did what I had to do to save the guy with the ocean blue. It wasn't far until I heard the breeze. There was wind and there was seas. The seas were breeze and the breeze were seas. There was no one left to please, except for the ocean seas. I do not understand why I went to the closet, opened and grabbed a shirt that I wore, which ended up being so tight. I took it off and wore another one, and then I folded the other one up and went back to school because I did not think that I would be so cool. There were too many kids, and there were too many teachers. Every kid had a teacher, and every teacher had a kid. They were all together, sneezing and sleeping in the ocean breeze without the seas. It was blue, the sky, and the lavender was moving. It was moving in a windy chime, like the breeze of an ocean seas. It took forward all the breeze and all the seas to drown out the noise of my ocean wind. You do not understand just how powerful I can stand when I go to the seas and read the ocean breeze. The wind is so strong, but the will is so weak. It all makes me want to fall asleep. I eat and I sneeze, but I don't sleep because my wind and my breeze do not help me fall asleep. I look at the clock. I see that it's late, so my eyes relax and my heart beats slow down, and I see and I feel in the darkness of the night the safety of the ocean breeze along with the seas. I change my clothes and I put on my watch just to be able to see what it is that I cannot breathe, and the winds and the seas that I cannot believe. I do not change my clothes. I do not read the book. Books have hundreds of pages, but there's only one that matters most. It's a book with the look and the eyes in the prize. I try to withstand holding up my eyes, but I do not understand if I were to keep listening to these meaningless chats, how my heart will be whispering. The heart is the beat, and the beat is the creep. I understand and I listen while I cheat on the breeze. It takes me far away to an ocean that I cannot stow away. I eat and I breathe, but there is no sleep. I sleep in my sleep, and I sleep very deep. Deeper and deeper I feel my sleep going as I listen to the wind and I hear the ocean breeze. The lavender sways like an ocean day, but I do not understand at what time the fish will lay. They hear me and they run, they whisper in fun, but I do not understand why my voice cannot run, just like the ocean breeze, along with the seas. They leave and they come, but my heart keeps on going. Slowly I beat on the paths that I've never been, and I hear all the way the ocean stray, but I do not understand what tangents I'm on, and I know that I'm gonna keep listening to this song. The more that you listen, the more boring this gets, the more senseless it is, and the worse it gets. So you keep on listening and listening, knowing that there's no end to my voice and to my words. So you might as well go to sleep, because I will not stop talking as I am, and you will keep listening to this for as long as you're awake. There's no way to stay awake when you hear what my boring voice has to say to you in the boring night that is deep. Go to deep sleep and stop listening, because I will keep on talking about these things that make no sense. The drive in the night, and the light and the seas, and the heavy ocean breeze that will bring you to sleep. They will wave and they will go in the night and the exhaust. The car and the far is where the deep ocean sleep, and then dark in the night you will feel safe and you will sleep because of the stars and the moon. They shine so bright in the night, and the river and the babbling brook. They hear you say your name. They say your name and they fall asleep in a wavy sound of sleep. Slowly you listen in the darkness of the night and the safety of the day. You just hear the crickets pleasantly swaying away as they fall asleep, and they start to creep, and their voice is very small. They whisper in the night like movies from Disney, and like the light that is shining bright. You cannot hear the noise. You cannot hear the words. You can only spill what you can spill and hear what you can hear. It is dark, it is bright, it is shiny, and it's white. Deep inside in the ocean's deep, you hear the voice. You know the language. It is very hard to not listen, but to deep sleep. You sleep very deep while hearing this voice. You cannot take it anymore. You give up and you sleep. You can't take it anymore. The voice that you hear is making your mind weak and making you fall asleep. Give up to the night and let it take you away in its drifting voice, as if you're in a river, slow and steady. You move through the night, thinking of the stars, with your eyes weighing heavy, knowing that you're safe. You feel deep in the sleep, and you sleep deep and deep. You hear my voice. You know my name, but you don't listen. You instead put me in the background, and you listen to my babbling, slow and steady, while looking in the darkness of your eyes for the deep ocean sleep. The deep ocean sleep that will take you away in a land far away from where your voice was heard. You trust the voice, you listen to the voice. Every word is silent, before, after, and during. In the voice of the night, you hear so bright, the land of the deep, where they genuinely fall asleep. You cannot betray the sound that I relay, but you can listen while the deep night of the sleep takes you into an ocean deep. Deep is your sleep on the ocean wave, taming away at the bright night day. You take a deep sleep and you feel asleep. You do not complain because this peace is overwhelming. You join in the rush, but you're supposed to get push. You jump up and down without having the crown. In the ocean you lay because of its party. The ocean is deep, will not let you fall asleep, but I will feel sleepy and I will wave my hands. Slowly you will take me deep in the river deep, and you will wake up with a sleep making no sense at all because of the fact that your ocean lay deep in the sound of the sleep with the noise of the boys and the crown of the crowd. You will see the blue sky, you will see the ocean deep, you will see the evaporation, you will see a key in a keychain. You went to the dentist, he gave you deep sleep. You could not wake up until he was done with the ocean and the storm, with the night and the day. You cannot go far away because of the tambourine that was still, and then it came to life. It drew up near to all that be dear, and you grew far away and near. The tissue paper was clear. It stood right ahead, and it gave you the right to go to bed. You covered yourself with all of your pillows. You felt the fluff of the pillow on your head. Your eyes got heavier, and you fell asleep because you could not stay awake any longer. It was boring and it was sad, so you could not be mad. You could just take away the night and the ocean day. Your lips were so red, you saw them and you felt that they were red because of the bed that you were putting your head. The head was the toe, and the toe was the head. The eyes were all googly, and the mind was bent. You felt cold, but you covered yourself. And slowly you fell asleep. Needing to fall asleep, you slowly gave yourself a heart that will beat for the night and the deep, for the stars that shine brightly with the moon, with the hair and the hand, and the bright ocean gloom. You do not know why you stand in the ocean of the deep, and your legs feel warm when you cover them up, placing them deep inside of the bed as you feel your shoulder lay on the bed and slowly bend back and forth and left and right. You took the sleep and you went deep because you love your sleep when you sleep so tight and you feel on your back the track that you had when you were a child, listening to the wind as the lavender swayed slowly in the sunset and the mountain grayed. It took time to go prime, and you did not understand why your bent blow was so deep in the ocean's sleep. Dark in the night, you fell asleep feeling safe, safe from every harm, because you did not have a farm. You rose in the night, and the cloud carried you away. It took you away deep in the stars, and you floated on the deep stars as if a river with mist, glowing deep down. It gave you away, and it showed you the crown of the age of the sleep. You could not stand still. You wanted to go to sleep. It took you away deep in the night. You felt relaxed and sleepy. Your mouth got very tired. Your mouth got tired. Your eyes got tired. Your body got tired. You relaxed and you heard all the noises of silence deep in the night, because you are bright, bright like the sun and bright like the moon. You loved your mother so much that you gave her a prune. She went and stood back still. It did not carry her away. You did not understand why in the ocean she lay. You gave her your heart because she had Bart, but he understood why she was so cool with the ocean and the hand, standing still in one hand. You took away the elephant, but he did not go because it did not want to flow. You are so smart. You deserve a crown of justice and a crown of peace. They stood tall on your head while you went to bed, and you looked into the mirror where you saw the ocean bed. You could not fall asleep, but you had the deer. The deer was the ocean, and the ocean was the deer. You took it away because you could not stay. You are smart, you're powerful. That is what they say. I know this for sure, because you are pure. Pure as gold, pure as silver, is where your lay had been. You do not understand why the whispers in the night don't make sense at all, but it's because you are right. You have to fall asleep. You have to take the time. The time is prime, and the prime is time. It is 4:50 a.m. It is not bright in the night. You will fall asleep deep inside, and I will never stop telling you this forever, because as you sleep, the infinity of my words ring in your brain, true like the rain. You will fall asleep, and you will feel deep inside of your brain what it could not claim. I do not understand why the ocean is bare, why the clouds stare, and why there is a bear. You will see with your head climbing down from the bed an ocean with no head, but a clown with a bed. You take away the fear of the bright light. It takes away the night. What is bright about the night? I do not understand. You're bright, shining bright. It takes away the fear and the deer in the pier. It's far from me to sleep. It's close to the ocean deep. You take away the fear, and you do not spend the night feeling so bright. I love the love, and I hate the fear. There is something deep inside of the ocean bed. It takes it away hard without the part that I love. I don't understand where the river bed falls in the deep ocean and flower, white and green and blue, is where they all power. I do not get the night, I get all the day and the bright. It is shiny, it is kind, it is what it was like. I do understand where my head will stand. It is with you in the dark, in the deep dark night of the bright. Bright is a flame of the lame and the pain. I do not know why. I find myself crowned for pie. Pie is deep, it falls asleep. It takes away with it all the pain and the brain. I do not know why. It is all very nice when you fall asleep in the ocean deep. I take my time and I do my vine. It takes me deep in sleep when the ocean is bare and when the story is clear. It is my story, the story of the bear. It holds still, it's not fast, it doesn't want to last. It lasts forever, my voice feeling deep. I cannot fall asleep, but I can hear your voice, the voice of clarity, the voice of justice, taking me deeper in sleep. You will hear me talk, just like I am now, just always like that, and never again. Senseless words, meaningless vibes, something that will remind you of your prime and your vibe. You will fall asleep deep in the night, for safety will crown you while you look at this deep, deep night's sleep. With the voice of the bride and the voice of the mind and the weather and the oxygen and the deep ocean sleep. It is here for you steep to make you fall asleep. You will not hear me vibe without Optimus Prime. Optimus and Optus and Rector and Vector, they are all in the deep night sleep. With me they will feel deep. It is not easy to sleep without the voice of a soothing person, someone who is there to talk and listen, while the whispers of the night say goodbye for the prime. You listen deep in the sleep, and you hear the voice whisper, the voice that will help you to fall asleep. You give up and you relax. From head to toe you fall asleep. You feel safe at night, in the darkness and the shining bright of the moon on the ocean shore, where you see the palm trees waving in the summer night. With love and with fear, you will fall asleep, romanticizing the summers of your dream, the night and the prime. They say to you to go to sleep. Good night from the owl, and good night from the deep, with a deep sleep. Good night to you. Take deep your sleep with the palm trees of the night and the crickets that sing the voice that will help you fall asleep. You hear that noise. You hear the majesty of nature. It reminds you of a time that you did not want to survive. The voice of the deep and the deep sleep. It will take you deep into a sleep where you will hear the voice, know the person, and clear your voice for the deep every time when you go to sleep. It is a voice from the heavens telling you good night. Good night, my dear darling. Don't let the ocean survive. Surviving the weather, surviving the ocean, the wisdom in your heart, which I will impart. You're very smart and you're dear, and you cannot take away the ocean and the urgency of the calm that we behave. I love you deep down because you don't have a crown. You have a voice and a wisdom. They crown your head and your words, and with every deep sleep, you cannot fall asleep. You will take your head and use it to understand the future blue is. You will fall asleep deep in the night, and you cannot say goodbye. Your voice is so quiet, but you can hear the speaking of a loud roar in the night, of the lion and the dike, eating and sleeping deep in the ocean. It has been 20 minutes. It has been 50 minutes. Your heart desires to never know, for timeless is the night where you fall asleep with the voice of the deer and the voice of the creep. He will deepen your sleep, slowly, slowly. You will hear the voice sing, and you will sing the voice's sound. It will whisper in the night, in the resmed of the night. It is so deep, it is so deep. I feel like I want to fall asleep. I feel like I want to close my eyes and drift away in the humor of the night. Deep in the sleep, whoever cannot fall asleep, I can take you deep into your sleep without making any sense whatsoever, because this is how the background noise will take you deep in the sleep with these voices and these voices, and the doors shut and open with aimless words that meander through the night. And as you hear them, you get tired, as you don't know when it will end. And now you have to bend to the night and the sleep and the moon and the stars shining so bright in the night without any fight. You survive with the blight of a bright summer night. You see deep in the sleep, and you suddenly fall asleep, getting tired of listening, getting bored of the noise. Your mind gives up power, and it lets go to the night. You fall asleep deep in the night. How beautiful is the night, the deep contemplation of the night. It helps you relax, because you do not want to feel lax. It is deep in the night that you shine bright with the night of the ocean time. You are smart, you have will, you have all that you need to fall asleep deep in the night with this voice hanging